Hi guys, today I am doing the totally should have tag. So Maddie and B from Heart Full of Books tagged me in this, and I'm going to leave their video and the original one down below. And this is basically a tag with 11 questions where it's all about something totally should have had or gotten this and that. So let's just get into the questions. Number 1, totally should have gotten a sequel. And for this one I'm going to mention 2 answers that I have said several times, and one of them at this point is actually pretty certain that it will get a sequel, but I just can't get over mentioning it because I just want to keep the hope up, and I'm gonna mention it until the sequel is finally there, and that is The Unbound by Victoria Schwab. I want to have the 3rd book in my hands, and yeah, I know that Victoria Schwab said she wants to write it and that it will eventually get out there when she's finished with it, but I just still have to mention it because I feel like at this point it almost would be bad luck if I wouldn't mention it for questions that regard something getting a sequel, so I had to mention it. And in that same thing we also have The Host by Stephenie Meyer, which Stephenie Meyer once said she would write a sequel to, so I'm just going to mention it because I feel like the world kind of deserves a sequel. These were genuinely the only books where I really thought they needed a sequel. I just couldn't think of anything else where I felt like I, have to have a sequel for closure or something like that. I felt like everything else was kind of wrapped up nicely. Number 2, totally should have gotten a spin-off series. And this is another old one. I'm going to say The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. I just feel like the world is really well done, and I just like everything that we get about this world, that it feels so sad that it's all over in just 3 books. I want so many spin-off series. I want to know more about all the different districts. I want to know more about the other games that happened and the Quarter Quells. I just have so many kind of things left that I want to know about the world. It's making me really sad that this is kind of something that is now dying out, whereas like Cassandra Clare milks out her Shadowhunter world so much. I feel like it is often very common to just really go into full detail when it comes to fantasy worlds, but for dystopian it doesn't really seem to be a thing, and for things like The Hunger Games I feel like it is really sad. Number 3, an author who should totally write more books. Another answer you won't get rid of till, finally something happens is Christine Cashore. I love her Graceling Realm trilogy. I just feel like this series is so unique and I want to see what else she can come up with. Number 4, a character who totally should have ended up with someone else. For this one I'm going to mention something from the Grisha trilogy. So if you haven't read that, I would probably mute the video until I am not holding the book in the frame anymore. Okay, hope you're all gone. I am totally off from the love triangle. I mean, I thought it was fine. Alina ended up with Mal, but I just would have loved to see Alina end up with Nikolai. And I know this is a weird answer. I know most people don't even consider him a love interest, but for me, he was a serious competitor and I would have loved to see them trying to work it out. I can't help myself. I can't get over it. I would have loved to see them together. Number 5, a book that totally should have ended differently. And this is probably the worst thing I have ever mentioned on this channel. This is probably the craziest unpopular opinion I have ever mentioned. Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I really imagined Harry to die in the end. I just did not think that there was any way that the world would be saved with Harry alive. And I thought that J.K. Rowling would totally go with that because, she was not scared of killing off characters. So I was really expecting it, and I'm not saying this ending is wrong or that I don't feel happy with it overall, because I just feel like this is what J.K. Rowling wanted to write and I accept what she has done. But that doesn't change the fact that I can't stop thinking about how I really, really wanted this to end differently, and how I felt like the only way for this to end perfectly for me was for Harry to die. I just didn't feel like it was realistic in a way. And it's interesting because so many characters died and we got so many tragic things, but in the end I felt like it was still really unrealistic happy ending because it just doesn't make sense that the main trio survives. As I said, probably very unpopular opinion, especially about I don't think it makes sense and it is realistic, but it's just my opinion. This would have been like full closure for me. Yeah. It's just what I've always felt. Number 6, totally should have had a movie franchise. For this one, I have 2 answers. I have The Ugly Series by Scott Westerfeld, which is a really cool, unique dystopian trilogy or series. This was published way before the actual dystopian hype, so I think it really got overlooked, but I feel like it would make amazing movies. And I also have the Anna and the French Kiss trilogy, which I think would make really amazing romantic comedies. Number 7, totally should have had a TV show. And one series I definitely want to mention for this is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, because this has been picked up by someone. Someone bought the rights to it. Victoria Schwab is writing the pilot, but we never know if this actually happens. So it's another thing where I just want to mention it to send some hope out there and to be like, hey, this is the thing and I want it to happen and here's some good luck, I guess. But another one I would find absolutely hilarious, and I know that the rights have been sold once, and that is The Selection by Kiera Cass. And you might know that I talk about this as kind of The Bachelor. So how fun would this be? Because it basically could be like The Bachelor, but a kind of dystopian version of it. Oh my god, I would love this. I want it so bad. I also feel like Geek Girl would make a really great TV show. I mean, we have Gilmore Girls, we have Gossip Girl, so I feel like Geek Girl should be a thing as well. Number 8, totally should have had only one point of view. I don't read that many books with more than one POV, and I felt like for the most part I really enjoyed both POVs, or I felt like they were really necessary. But I do really wish that Amber Smoke by Kristen Cast would have just less point of views, because there's just so many different people and it is just a little bit too much, and it continues in the sequel. If you read the sequel, you think, oh, you know everybody now, so this wouldn't be as confusing, but it still was hella confusing and there were new points of views. 1 or maybe 2 point of views would have been fine for this one. I think it still would have been able to tell everything that, you know, the story wanted to tell. Number 9, totally should have had a cover change. Okay, first off, I do want to mention the host. I mean, this is not like a totally ugly cover, but big chunks of faces are always so weird. It should have gotten a cover change, you know, seeing as it's Stephenie Meyer and popular and movie and stuff like that. I mean, there's probably a movie cover, but I mean like an actual, proper, beautiful cover. Maybe we get that when Stephenie Meyer finally decides to write the 2nd and 3rd book in this series that we deserve. But I do also think that the Book of Ivy should have a different cover, although I feel like I saw something on Goodreads that it is getting a new cover and even a new title. So, you know, this might be in the works. Number 10, totally should have kept the original covers, and I couldn't even find something on my bookshelf where I felt that way. But even though I haven't read the books, I do feel like The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon is a really sad cover change. It looks really simplistic now, which is not a bad thing overall, but I feel like before they looked just as simplistic but also really intriguing, and now they feel like they really want to market it into a kind of historical fiction adult kind of market. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the Outlander covers, and I don't know, it just gives me really weird vibes. And number 11, totally should have stopped at book 1. I thought about being sassy about this one, but I'm just gonna be normal about it. Divergent by Veronica Roth. While I really enjoyed the second book as well, which is already an unpopular opinion, I do, you know, agree that Allegiant was just a really great, a really bad final book and so disappointing. And this was the totally should have tag, and once again I am very late with doing this tag, so I'm not gonna tag anyone because I feel like most people have already done it. But if you want to do it, you totally should do it. Ha ha ha. Okay, and with that, another great joke, I'm going to wish you a very nice day. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!